I spoke with Georgia Republican and member of the Armed Services Committee and medical doctor, Congressman Rich McCormick. Congressman, nice to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
All right, the president is changing back to what it once was, the Defense Department to the War Department. Do you like that?
I don't have any problem with it. I think it's kind of fun, but it really doesn't change what we do. It's kind of like changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of USA. It's not going to Gulf of America. It doesn't change the body of water. We're going to do the same mission. We're going to still have the same commander-in-chief. He's going to designate what our mission is. Just like it doesn't matter what the base name is. You have the same soldiers, sailors, Marines there doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I do like the fact that it gives warning. That we're not just going to idly stand by. It's better than, I mean, Kamala Harris would have named it the Department of Surrender, I think, because it's not a pacifist organization. We always say the best defense is a good offense. The Marines don't sit there and wait
Which you
to
are.
go on offense.
Which you are. Which you're a Marine.
I think it's important to let people know we're not just going to sit idly by and wait for the next 9/11.
You know, it's funny. I don't like it. And maybe I'll get to like it more. But I didn't like it when President Obama changed Mount McKinley to Mount Denali. I didn't like that. I like tradition, unfortunately. I realize that sometimes things have to be changed. But the problem that I have now, and we're only a couple hours into this, is that the United States has fought in so many wars. We've never taken a foot of mud, dirt, anything. We've gone over there, we've shed our blood, whether it goes, you know, World War II, look at what we did for the world. And the whole idea is we'll defend us. Don't you dare touch us. We'll send out all our ships and all our fighter planes and everything else if you dare touch us. But the Department of War sounds more like an aggressor to me. And I've seen the United States as strong, but not an aggressor.
I get it. And I think, once again, people will stop thinking about that once it's no longer the headline. I think our mission, the ability to project power, that's what we're all about. And the military can be used by the president in limited accounts. And actually, we kind of, as Congress, has ceded the authority to declare war. I mean, look at the last time we declared war, World War II. How many wars have we been in since
Korea,
then?
Vietnam, all the Middle
Iraq,
East.
Afghanistan, all those places I've been able to grace my presence with also. But it is what it is. Like I said, the mission has not changed. We are still a body of warriors that's trained for one thing, and a lot of people don't like to think of it this way, but we are trained to end bad people's lives. That's what we do.
Well, I have a vision of this, too, is at some point there's going to be a Democrat again in the White House.
Sure.
You know, I don't know when that's going to be, but it's at some time, because these things flip back and forth eventually. And this is not being done by law. Congress is not passing this. The House and the Senate haven't sent this up for the president's signature. This is by executive order. So we're going to watch sometime in the future, some president possibly is going to sign an executive order reversing that. And, you know, so I don't know, it also sort of, because it's not a law, it diminishes its authority. It's not really a statement of the United States for me.
Greta, this is the bigger point that I've been addressing for a long time now. Since when I came in under the Biden administration, we're out of balance. I don't care if it's President Trump, President Biden, President Obama. It doesn't matter. We're out of balance. The executive branch was never meant to be superior to the legislative branch. We're supposed to be equal. We're supposed to be peers. It's not good. I know it's frustrating to wait for things to happen. Nobody wants to see that happen because they want change. In fact, I always kid that there's two things that Americans don't like. We don't like the way things are, and we don't like change. But if you look at it from the standpoint, it's very hard to change things through Congress and the Senate and the President because of the checks and balances. Democracy is frustratingly slow, but it was designed that way on purpose by our founding fathers so that things wouldn't be too rapid and go against the will of the people. The most efficient government out there is a monarchy or a dictatorship or a theocracy where one person calls all the shots. And just like we said with Israel, when God said, "Are you sure you want a king? Are you sure?" Because it's great when you have a great king, and it's horrible when you have a bad one. I love the president. I love a lot of his ideas. But the problem is, just like you said, what happens the next time we get a Democrat in office and they go 180 the other direction, and they do something so extreme? And I would be a hypocrite at that point if I didn't say, this is out of balance and this is not the way we're supposed to do things.
Okay, so it's not going to make any difference to our mission, whether it's called Department of Defense or Department of War. So why do we do it?
I think the president has a God-given gift of keeping the news cycle focused on what he's doing.
He's like full employment for cable news. He gives us stuff every day.
How he's projecting power. If you're talking about what he's doing, what else are you talking about? Nothing else. He is capturing the imagination of the American people. Some people don't like that. But you get to see what he's doing on a daily basis. I've never seen anything like it. It's hard to keep up with. You might come up and all of a sudden say, hey, Dr. McCormick, what do you think about President Trump saying this today? And I'll be like, I didn't see it coming because he's that active.
I can one-up you. We have our morning meeting planning the show, and we've got it all set up pretty much what we're going to do. And then he does something at 1 o'clock. Okay, so we throw that show out, we do another one. Then at 2 o'clock, he does something else. Why don't we throw that one out? He keeps changing. We can't keep up with him.
You can't pre-record
no,
this guy.
And the one thing, I truly do appreciate about him, there have been hundreds of executive orders signed by other presidents. I don't think I've ever, maybe a few I've seen on TV. He's so transparent. You see him doing it. You find out why. You get commentary after. So I have a high appreciation for that because, it's so important that we know what our elected leaders are doing, and we do know what he's doing.
And he's authentically Trump. Nobody else can be him. As a matter of fact, people who try to be like him underperform him in elections. Everybody's got to be themselves. There's not one path to the presidency. He found his way. People appreciate who he is. Not everybody, but that's how he won. People like that sort of authenticity.
All right, I'm going to throw a random question at you. Ukraine, Russia, Putin, and Zelensky.
Troubling. Look at what just happened with Xi Jinping in China, the people he had there, including Modi, which really surprised me.
Why did Modi go?
I am baffled. But I'm the chair of the India caucus, and I'm asking myself that. Modi, what are you thinking? You're at war with China on the Arunachal Pradesh region. They have tens of thousands of troops facing out. They've had violence and death. They haven't settled it. China's trying to screw them over in business-wise and power-wise. Why would you? I don't understand it. And this is kind of the balance of power. If the United States does better and better, there's a natural gravity towards an opposing force. That's the natural forces of nature, if you will. But I don't like it at all. I think Modi's making a misstep. Maybe it's because of the tariffs. I don't know.
Well, see, I wonder if it's because of the tariff, because if Trump does act upon his threat to do these secondary tariffs, India does a lot of business with Russia, and so India suddenly won't be able to do business, or is going to have to choose between Russia and us at that point. Yeah. And I think his trip to China sort of tells us a little bit, since Putin was there. He said he's probably going to make the choice to do business with China and Russia, and we're going to be out of luck.
And I hope not, but I think, remember, Russia cannot supplant us. I mean, they have a $2.1 trillion GDP. Texas has a $2.7 trillion GDP. We have almost a $30 trillion GDP. Russia cannot replace us for India, but it is probably a shot across the bow. And I'm sure they're hurting. And they're also complaining, hey, look, Europe's buying a ton of energy from Russia, too. You're not doing anything about that. You guys are buying uranium and cobalt and other things from Russia. Well, you're not punishing yourselves. They feel like it's unfair, and so I think this is kind of his punch back, but I don't like it at all. I'd rather see Modi gravitate towards us. We need to up our energy production so he can buy as much as he wants from us, and then that problem goes away. But unfortunately, Biden put us in a situation we're not ready yet, but hopefully we'll be in the near future.
We raised the issue of oil and gas. You've got, Western Europe is basically, Russia's the gas station for Western Europe. Western Europe gets their fuel, everything from Russia. So they are, and while they have these summits where they think, what are we going to do about Russia, they are funding the war every time they make a purchase. I mean, the irony of that.
And the pass-through through India, by the way. India buys the gas, and buys the oil, and then sells it back to Europe as if that's not from Russia. It is shady, but we do some of that, too. I think if you cut off Russia from their funding, which would be painful, by the way, that would disrupt the world market, the economy. But this war would be over rapidly without any more gunfire. But we can see that Putin just keeps on upping the ante until he can get more and more in this deal. What a bad faith negotiation when you say the compromise is give me more than I already have. What a shady character.
I agree. Anyway, Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick, thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure. Semper Fidelis.
People think news just happens. It doesn't. It happens because there's someone there to capture the moment, to explain it and share it. That's my job. I go where news breaks and give you the facts. Join me for The Record on Newsmax.